See, this always happens, right, Matt? Because it's telling me it's loading up, and I don't know if, so if we're live, drop in, hello, welcome back, Sunday evening, men's mental health tonight, dudes and dogs, we're, I don't know, season 3, episode 37, mindset explosion. So tonight, obviously, as the tagline says, we're going to talk about mental health, been joined by the lovely Matt Selwyn.
How you doing?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. So tonight we'll have a little talk about men's mental health, what it means for both of us, and about dudes and dogs, which is a great, I've been hearing all about it. Obviously I checked out some beforehand, so it's a great community group that has just exploded in less than a year, it sounds. So we can find out a little bit more about that and yeah, how you can get involved basically. So Matt, thanks for coming on. It's been a while.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, mate. Yeah, good to see you again.
Yeah, good. So, do's and dogs, quickly, well, not quickly, but what's it all about? Do I need a dog and do I need to be a dude?
Right, dudes and dogs, do you need a dog? Absolutely not. Do you need to be a dude? It helps. So yeah, Dudes and Dogs is a men's mental health movement project set up by a chap called Rob Osman, based down in Bristol. He set this up in October last year. So yeah, as you said, literally just under a year, sorry, it's been going. And the basis behind it is getting men out into the fresh air with or without dogs to chat about their mental health. The idea being that you can come out, chat as much or as little as you want, with the freedom of knowing that there's going to be no judgment. So he had groups of probably 10 to 15 initially coming out on regular walks down in Bristol each week up until lockdown, and they were just turning up just from word of mouth initially to say, oh, I've heard about this, what's it all about? They might not have mental health and will not realise they had mental health concerns, but they might be dealing with a stressful job, they might have some deep dark depression, or they might have some, you know, as deep as potentially suicidal thoughts. But what they were doing, they were coming out and exploring what Dudes and Dogs was all about, and exploring what it was to kind of get out and have a chat without that sort of stigma of going, oh, you've got this, you've got that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that Dudes and Dogs is really prevalent for. You know, we don't want to stigmatize, we don't want to judge. All we want to do is lend a shoulder to cry on, lend an ear to listen into, just let people talk as much as little as they want. And it's blown up big time. Yeah, it's been really good for us.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I do feel that you know, we see it a lot in the news, and probably been talking about men's mental health for, gosh, I don't even know, it's a good few years, but it's still a big problem, isn't it? I feel a lot of, when I look into it, this is a crisis point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes even because now I've spoken up about it, and you know, you're in this group. The amount of guys I've met, or people like yourselves that have set up similar groups, you know, the stuff you hear, and it kind of puts it back into perspective that, you know, this is still quite a big problem for, you know, many guys. So
yeah, I mean, one thing that men are really good at is beating ourselves up. Sadly, you've only got to look at the suicide rates. The Office of National Statistics said, you know, almost 6,000 suicides were recorded last year. Almost 3/4 of them were men, sadly. Yeah. It's the one thing we're good at. We're good at killing ourselves. And it's
about things like that, Matt. Numbers never lie.
No, exactly. And they're absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
And, you know, let alone potentially issues you've got in the military as well. People come out of the military that, you know, they might have post-traumatic stress, or, you know, all kinds of, if those guys see things that everyday folks shouldn't see, and they shouldn't see, and they need all the support they can get. And that Dudes and Dogs offers that for them. We have a dedicated military group for those guys. And we've probably got more members in there than we have in our online community, which is what I'm part of. Yeah. That opportunity to be part of something and to know that you're supported is so invaluable. It really is.
Yeah, and I think as well, I think if you're in an environment where you can speak openly and freely, and I guess maybe to start off as people you wouldn't know, but you said you've kind of made like lot of friends out of this as well, I guess. You got
Yeah.
a support network that's around you.
Yeah. So I joined Dudes and Dogs almost like a friend of a friend mentioned it to me. I knew nothing about them. In all honesty, I just thought it was a load of blokes getting out for a walk with their dogs and just laughing at their dogs. Part of it is that. But when I looked into it more, I realised it was aimed at guys with potentially mental health issues and an opportunity to get out and have a chat about it. So I joined probably end of January, start of Feb. There were regular walks going on. I didn't quite at that time have the courage to join the walks. So before lockdown in March, I hadn't actually been on a walk. But what happened further in lockdown is that the Dudes and Dogs became this amazing online support community. And more guys were joining day in, day out. And as a result of like a really good entertainment program, we used to have music on a Sunday night. Some of the guys in the group, they would pretty handy with a guitar. They'd put on a free gig for us on Facebook Live. We'd have regular pub quizzes. Everyone did a pub quiz, didn't they? Of course they did. But then we'd have like sketches, like artists that kind of do sketch lessons. We'd have dog enrichment, yoga, fitness classes, which, crikey, I'm doing fitness classes still now, live every single blooming morning on the Facebook group. So, but what happened, I mean, it maintains the engagement of the group. And we were getting people from the States kind of joining in and getting engaged. And these guys, because they were getting engaged, you kind of get to know them. And yes, they open up and they talk about their stresses and they talk about their anxieties and their depression. Still in this safe online community space with that no judgment, you kind of get to know these people. And yes, some of them have become really good friends. Some of them I've still never met, but I class them as good friends of mine. And I hope it's the same back. The guys that tell me otherwise, they're pretty brutal. So,
I'm sure.
But yeah, it is. There's probably at least sort of 50 to 60 guys in there that I know really well now. And they're guys I would never have met walking down the street. It's been brilliant. Yeah.
And how would you say it's kind of, because like before we came on live, and you were saying you kind of felt, I don't really have an issue with mental health, but you've kind of discovered, not that you do, but you've kind of discovered a bit more about your self-awareness, I guess.
Yeah, I think actually self-awareness is probably the key term there. I've grown up with quite an atypically masculine father. And you know the family a little bit, but my dad's he's not a big butch bloke, but he's kind of that era where you've had a crap day at work, or you've had a rough couple of days with your life or whatever. He was this kind of bloke, man up, Matt, come on, get on with it, move on. And that's kind of like the attitude I'd had almost up to the point of joining Dudes and Dogs. But what I've realised is that I've never really given my mental health as much time that I should have. I've kind of looked at stress as just something that's part of life. And I guess to a certain extent it is. But dealing with it is a different matter. I would kind of just like to bury it deep down and not really address it. But what Dudes and Dogs have taught me is really to open up and talk about it. And it was to say problem shared is a problem halved. Thank you. Problem shared is a problem halved. And it's true. Yeah. We were chatting just before we came on live and about once you've told someone, you do feel like a little bit has been lifted off your shoulders.
Yep.
And I think I've just realised that I do have anxiety. I do overthink things. And Charlie last week on your mindset, he mentioned about being an overthinker. I think we all are. And before I came on here, I was stressing beyond belief. I've written about 3 pages of notes about things that I wanted to say. I probably won't say any of it. But yeah, it's become so important for me now to share. Yeah. I share more now through Dudes and Dogs than I ever have. If I had a crap day, I'll do a live video. I'd never have done that 6 months ago. I'll do a live video to the guys, say, I've had a crap day. It's because of this, this, and this. And I'll get so many guys coming back saying, I understand. I hope you're okay. I'll get private messages saying, I saw your post. Thanks for sharing. It's just, you almost feel like this big virtual hug has been given to you, being part of this group. And I couldn't recommend it more highly enough. It's I'm not saying it's been life changing, but it's definitely changed my perception on life.
I'd say it has been life changing. Don't be too humble.
Yeah,
In a positive way, because
yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah, I think so, Matt. Sorry, I can't tell you how you feel, but
No, it's fine.
probably me, my own experience a little bit, but I know, well, for me, once I was able to talk about stuff, it made it easy. Now that's been a long process, and even I still have those moments. Yeah, just listening to what you're saying there, really, I think, oh wow, take my hat off if I have one, but
Just to hide the bold spots.
take my hat off. Yeah, no, because I think it is so important, and because having been in that, so you just feel so alone. So I think that a community like that is so important, and it is life changing, and it's life changing when you're, because you're guiding people in a way.
Yeah.
You're showing the way. So that is life changing,
Yeah.
but for the right reasons as well.
Definitely, yeah. And I think throughout lockdown, it's certainly helped. You know, lockdown happened, and a lot of us were forced into the 4 walls that we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you one bit of exercise a day, you kind of got to cherish that. But you know, you're stuck in these 4 walls. Having that community support around me, virtually or not, has definitely got me through some dark times over lockdown.
Yeah, I bet.
And
I tell you what, probably of any time to get involved in something like this, I would say it is now, because there is a lot of uncertainty. Hopefully, people's jobs and stuff like that. And yeah, I know a lot of people like, actually, this is we said finding good stuff, right? We was trying to find what good things that come out of the whole lockdown situation. There will be good stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty. I know how that stress can build up. So being part of something like this, and like you say, you don't, getting involved, it's not costing anything except a bit of your time, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. And it's something that I want to give more as well. Like before, when I first joined, you kind of sit in the shadows and you're trying to work out exactly where you might fit into this community. Yeah. And it took a brave moment, I guess. You say about don't be too hard on myself. I've got to be proud of the moments where I have kind of gone, right, okay, today's the day that I'm going to go on live. Today's the day that I'm going to comment on someone's post to say, I'm here for you. And it takes a lot to get to that point, but I'm I've got to be proud to say that I've done that. And now I'm one of the people that are encouraging others to do it.
Yeah.
And
it grows. And I think one of the things to come out of mental health is and those things you begin to grow, and then the people around you begin to grow as a result. That's why it's blown up the way it has. And like you said, it's not been forced upon people. They've been seeking out. They've heard about it.
Yeah.
Great. It's dudes and dogs don't need a dog. It's a bit difficult with the walking, but you got created this massive. All of you are part of this have created this massive online community, and I think it does. And something you said there, I think is an important key. You can't always do it if you're in a bad mental health state. It's very hard to kind of give, but then being a listening ear doesn't take too much. And actually, I think sometimes when you know that people are going through similar stuff, it got that little bit more empathy about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get told man up or it'll be all right.
Exactly.
Because that's the worst thing to be said is, oh, don't worry about it now. It's like, but it's here. Okay.
Yeah, and
I won't talk to you again. And then you can't, stuff that happened with myself is like, I then didn't want to talk about it even more. So I think it's a great thing. And what's interesting, Matt, because obviously I did a little look on the website. So you're not just based in Bath or Gloucester. It seems to be expanding out. You started at Lincoln and Stonehouse stage, but so because most people probably watching possibly from this area, so you're doing Stonehouse and Cheltenham, is that correct?
Yeah. So coming out of lockdown in end of July, we started up our group walks. So we were doing group walks. Rob was leading walks down in Bristol before lockdown, and his intention was to basically train guys up, dog dudes, to be group walk leaders, and he wanted to expand that around the country. lockdown kind of put a bit of a down on that, as it did a lot of things, sadly. But coming out of it, we're really engaged now with trying to get those walks back up and running. So in end of July, we launched our first group walk in Bridgend. Then we had group walks set up in North Bristol, and then we had Cheltenham, which is hosted by myself and my colleague Kieran. And the idea is that we can limit the numbers, because we have to book it through the website. So we can limit the numbers to 6, so we can keep to the rule of 6, but we can still keep that message going. We can still get guys out in the fresh air with or without their dogs to kind of come and have a chat. And again, the message remains right from the get-go. They can come on walks. They don't have to talk. They can talk as little as much as they want. I can talk a little bit, but if guys want to come and just listen in to what other guys are saying, that's absolutely fine. If guys want to come and literally talk for an entire hour, I'm more than happy to sit there and listen. So yeah, there is now opportunity for guys to get out and continue walking with us. We've got another walk just started in Stonehouse that we started today, and then we've got them down in Bristol. Lincolnshire started in a couple of weeks, and we just had another one started in Oxfordshire as well. So we are slowly beginning to expand, but we've got interest from all over the world. To be honest, we've got guys in the States that are part of the online community, desperate to kind of start walks out there.
Yeah,
it's a case of getting out there to do the training with them, which is a little bit difficult. So yeah, but the more we can get out and walk, the better I feel, and the better I think the guys that attend feel.
I think the fact you're getting out into nature, where nature being outside of your, like the 4 walls, wherever you may be, I think that's a big part of it.
Exactly, yeah.
And then I guess then it must be, because it's like on a set day and set time, it becomes part of that routine. And something I think is important for mental health is even when you just got no energy, all you got to think is turn up. I think it's great that you don't have to feel like I got to talk or I got to say this, just because I know from people that I deal with that sometimes they just want someone there. Like you said, it may not be ready to talk yet, and that's okay. That's a really important message to put out, because it takes a while to kind of and then each time you may or may not say whatever, and I think sometimes just knowing actually these guys got my back a little bit. I think it's I've seen it, people. I've seen it where they've been so down, and you just pull them out of the house, and suddenly they might talk, they might not talk, but then they start to pick up because the lights were off or it's dark, and I've been there. It's just crap. It's horrible. But and sometimes you just need that. So I think it's what a great thing.
And some guys they'll turn up and guys will turn up and they won't say anything for the first time. They might not say anything for the second time, but that third time that they turn up, first off, they turned up. That's a massive step for some guys, just to get out and turn up. But that repetitiveness, as you said, coming out on a regular basis, and then third or fourth time they might come up and say to you, how are you? Just have a chat, not mental health related. Often our chats we'll talk about our dogs. Most of us have got dogs that do come on the walks, and our dogs are a brilliant distraction, to be honest, in a weird way. Not that you want to distract our way from chatting about mental health. That's ultimately what we're here for. But you could be having a deep, dark conversation and the mood might be kind of low and slightly. My dog will probably find something to go rolling. And it breaks the ice. It's a really nice distraction. And it lifts the mood slightly as well. So, but if guys don't want to talk, again, that's fine. It really doesn't worry. The fact that they've made that effort to come out, that's a step in the right direction as far as we're concerned. So
100%. And it always because I know sometimes with similar stuff, it's like, I'm not confident enough to talk, I wouldn't be able to do this. I definitely shouldn't have to worry about that, right? So and in what sense, I know you can't really, because it's obviously must be all confidential stuff, so but have you got something like that's how it has helped some of the guys? Is it
well, so as you said, I mean, it's like rugby. what happens on tour stays on tour. It's an element of that. So what happens on what's talked about on the walk, it's confidential. They can be safe that it's not going to be shared. But yeah, there's some guys. So even going back to the online community, there's some guys that have sought out other mental health online communities and not felt it's right for them. And then they found Dudes and Dogs, and you can see that they've kind of had these experiences elsewhere. But then there's something about Dudes and Dogs that has kind of gelled with them. And these are guys that don't necessarily have dogs. They felt like it is that safe space to share. And some of the guys have kind of come out and they've gone on to do really good things. So some of the guys that have shared online content in the group wouldn't have said boo to a goose at the start. And then now they're doing online videos. Some have gone on to do podcasts. Some are going on to become dog dudes and leading walks themselves. I wouldn't have done half of that stuff 6 months ago. And now I'm leading walks on a regular basis and chatting to people that I've never met. It's crazy to think that 6 months ago, if someone had said that I was what I was going to be doing, I'd have said, no, you're absolutely crazy. I'd never do that. But it does. It brings people out of themselves. I think because it offers that safe space for people to talk. They feel safe. They know there's going to be no judgment, so they feel like they can go and do more. So it does. It definitely has brought people out of themselves, me included. So yeah, it's amazing to see the journeys that people go on right from the start. And
no, I think that says it all really. So what? Obviously, it's a shame. As I understand the reasons for Rule of Six, but I think for something like this, it's a shame they can't just trim it. But anyway, we won't get into that one. But
I should say Dudes and Dogs is definitely an apolitical movement. We don't have any political views at all. Individually we might, but we would never say that.
Yeah. So you said the founder's got he's very ambitious and got a lot of big things that are coming out of this. And having looked on, I think I just took a sneak on his Instagram last night, and the website looks amazing. So you can see where it's going to go. Is there anything you're able to share about things like that? So it's like you've already set up a military. You got the two groups anyway, so I kind of feel like there's going to be another group at some point. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I can't say, and mainly because possibly I don't know about it. But yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on all the time. At the moment, our main drive is, so we're coming up to the anniversary of the launch of Dude and Dogs. So we'll be coming up to the year's anniversary. So we'll probably be doing something to mark the event, whether that's a virtual celebration or a small group celebration. That I guess we'll try and work that over the next few weeks. The big stuff we got coming up in the next few weeks. So we've got a fundraising challenge. So part of becoming a dog dude is the intention to do some fundraising to raise awareness and funds, obviously, for Dudes and Dogs. At the moment, Dudes and Dogs is a community investment company, but that's a community interest company. We want to get charitable status. So at the moment, everything is kind of all self-funded. So we're trying to fundraise through doing a 3 Peaks challenge. So
is that I mean that you're doing that, Matt?
Is that the, oh my God, what have I let myself in for? Yeah. So 17th of October, there's a group of, I think there's probably about 10 of us at the moment, which the logistics are still working themselves out, because obviously we need to do it as a social distance challenge. But yeah, there's a group of us that are doing the 3 Peaks challenge on the 17th of October, 24 hours at Ben Nevis, Scarfell Pike and Snowdon. So we're all in training for that. We're all trying to do some fundraising for that at the moment. So that's our big push. Try and get as much engagement with that as we can. And yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff coming in the near future, which I can't say about, but all I can say is, guys, check out,
get involved, right?
Yeah. Keep an eye on the website. The website is evolving all the time, and there'll be, guest blogs and things like that coming on there. There'll be videos and a lot more interaction and things like that, and hopefully in the next few weeks. So.
Well, it's a well-maintained website, because I had a look before I spoke to you. I seen Stonehouse, and then you told me that we launched today. So fair enough.
Yeah, so we're really fortunate that initially Rob set it all up and Rob handled everything. He's kind of now, the online community has a panel. So we have a group of guys that kind of control the online community. They help with the content, they help with the website. So the website is now kind of managed by some tech wizard that has magical powers. I have no idea how the websites work myself. And then we have like people that look after the merchandise, people that look after like the media and the blogs and things like that. So it's all really self-managed, and the guys are brilliant that deal with it. So yeah, long may that continue.
Yeah, but it's a great cause.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's men's mental health is at a crisis point.
Yeah,
and
but there does appear to be a bit of a sea change. You do hear a lot more about mental health in general. Let alone mental health. You see a lot more people coming out in the press about it. I think there's Joe Marler, the Harlequins rugby player, who's a brilliant personality, but he's come out himself and said, I suffer with men's mental health.
I think it's taken some high profile things like that too.
Yeah.
So I think unfortunately we lost like Robin Williams and
yes.
We've got a few like that. So it does need that. So that's great. And there are more things still coming out, but yeah, it just needs to be. Yeah, come on, guys, speak up.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that still won't chat or they're only comfortable in certain environments. But I guess that's a great thing about the group is that you're not necessarily around. See, I found it cool to talk to someone I didn't know.
Do you know what? It's really weird you say that because joining the group, I knew one person before I joined the group. And that was just through a different group that I was part of. But within a month or two of being part of that group, I was joining online chats like this.
Yeah.
And there were people in there that were just all over the country. Never met them, but I felt comfortable chatting to them because there's something that it's weird. There's something quite secure.
You share that common thing that the reason that you're there for.
Knowing the people are going through the same.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes, I think like you said at the beginning, you don't always know it's there until it real smacks you up in the face. And so there are different levels of it, and you don't really, and then suddenly it's like, oh my God, it's big, boom, whatever's happened. So I think it's good for pretty much all guys really.
I think so.
And like a lot of ladies I know, they've been doing it for years. So we got to learn.
It's really weird that I don't want to stereotypify, but women tend to they have their groups, and they'll share everything. Blokes don't. Maybe that comes from that masculine perception that we need to kind of just be big and strong and bring in the money to look after and pay the bills, etc. like that. But there is a sea change. Men are waking up to realise that actually it's okay to chat, and it's really important to do so. Yeah,
no, it is. Otherwise, just carry it. Like we said at the beginning, it becomes that backpack of rocks. All right.
Correct.
It just gets heavier, really. So
no,
that's brilliant. So how do I get involved? So obviously you got the website, but it sounds like the online community, is that Facebook or is it?
So predominantly everything at the moment is social media driven. So we got the website, so dudesanddogs.co.uk. So it's dudesanddogs.co.uk. From there, you can find links to the online community. So we have two online communities actually. We have the Dudes and Dogs online community, which is, hasten to use the term, but it's civilian driven. So it's for Joe Public. And then we have a military group as well. The military group is led by an amazing chap called Tony Phipps. He's an ex-Marine himself, huge advocate for men's mental health, and he's growing the military side. So if we've got military guys out there, check out the military group. You'll be welcome with open arms. If you just want to if you're a civilian, if you're non-military, the online community is the place to look. Obviously, with every private group, there's a few questions you need to do, but that's absolutely fine. Everyone's welcome, and you'll be welcome with open arms. Again, to re-emphasize, no judgment whatsoever. You can share as little as much as you want.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything can be found through the website. And yeah, the more we can get involved, the more we can get engaged, the better.
Yeah. Is it okay for you to put the links for the groups below?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I'll put the links on the Facebook. I'll share through your Facebook group.
Yeah,
and we'll get the links out to you.
Yeah, if you do it in the comments on here, that'd be wicked. So, all right. Anything else to finish up with there, Matt?
No, I just want to say, Matt, thanks for having me along.
No,
I said to you before, I was quite nervous about it, but it's amazing how much like stuff comes out off the top of your head. I wrote a load of stuff, and I've not written any. Said half of what I was going to do, but
yeah, well, maybe that can be for your book.
Yeah, well, maybe. Watch this space. There may be a Dudes and Dogs book in the near future. I don't know. Who knows? We've got some talented guys in the group. They might like that idea and run with it.
Yeah, I think maybe some like some people kind of was happy to share some of their experience, like how they come out of it as well.
Exactly.
That'd be cool. But yeah, thanks, Matt. Thank you everyone for watching. All right. As I say, like men's mental health, so important. It's okay to talk, and I really love it. I'm gonna have to join because I just like the sound of it. If I just want to lurk in the background, I can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest take I've got from it, Matt, is I wasn't 100% sure before, obviously. So it's great. You got the dog walking community, but you don't need a dog. And the great thing is, because obviously as it's building up these areas where you can walk, it can be from all over the world, and just get in there and chat. And it just sounds so supportive. I like the idea you got these different themes going on as well. That's wicked.
Excellent.
And just, before we go, you did mention something about are you looking for more fields? Is that right?
Yeah, so at the moment so the walks work in secure dog fields, so we can kind of allow people to let their dogs off without fear of them running off into lakes and things like that. But around the country, we're looking for more and more secure dog fields or open sites, so we can have more and more groups set up around the country. So if there's anyone out there that knows of anything, feel free to get in touch. I'm more than happy to kind of field that through, and hopefully, because all we want to do is we want to get out and walk, and we want to share the message. The more sites we can have, and the more walks we can get, the more guys that we can get engaged. That's exactly what we want to do.
Brilliant. Well, I love it. So it sounds like people grow. They get the support, and I think that's what it's all about. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments below. Matt, are they okay to drop you a message?
Yeah, absolutely fine. More than happy to field those.
All right, same thing. But the most important thing is, anything that's bothering you, or if you got stuff that's beginning to grow, you're concerned, or it's reaching boiling point, reach out. That's so important. Because it sometimes just be able to talk about it just a little bit. And for me, you can talk all night long, and I'll sit and listen. It takes that off your shoulders, and it's not. You're not burdening anyone. That's something I don't know if you've heard that, Matt, but
definitely.
Is like, I don't want to put it on you. I don't want to burden you because you got this, and I don't want to burden you because you got that. And I'm like, you're not burdening me at all, because the burden would be that I didn't sit and listen when you really needed someone to sit and to sit there and listen. So
well said.
But I understand it's like a feeling that we can go inwards a little bit when we're feeling that way, and we don't. Because I've been there as well, where I don't want to burden people, but it's part understanding that what's going on there is you kind of also having this battle with yourself. Don't worry about it, and people will listen. And it's just getting that right support around you, and having sometimes just a few people I think you can just trust and listen. Call up. Can I? Is it okay to message this person at 3 a.m? If I set that rule and that boundary up with them, and go from there. And even in fact, you talk about writing it down, just writing stuff down is
writing down is really cathartic. I get a lot of my brain works most when I'm trying to go to sleep, so I have a notepad by my bed, so I'm always writing stuff down with the bedside light on. It's a nightmare. But it gets it out of your brain, and you get a nice sleep for doing it.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to go over now. It just looked like I was going to stop, but you just finished the chip paradox. But I think, again, just speaking it out, and I think sometimes we can feel daft about what we're going to talk about or what's going to come out. But once it's out, you can actually start to process it better to be able to deal with, you know, working on that solution or how you go forward or taking those little bits at a time, because again, it can all, you know, everything can be going on around you at one go. It might just be one, it might seem, someone might say, oh, it's only a little thing, but it's not. If it's bugging you, it's not little, and it's, you know, it's definitely need that bit of support. So yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so get yourself in the Dudes and Dog group. Definitely check them out online. And if you have the opportunity to get out on a walk with these guys, I haven't done it, but I already know, you know, it's going to be good for you, because just for me personally, getting out for a walk in nature, it just clears my head up. Movement, motion leads to emotion. So when, you know, if we stay still, then that starts to weigh down on us. And we get more tired, even though we're not doing anything. And then that's what but we have to be able to move. And that definitely just lifts up those energies. So better to feel tired after a walk anyway. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Next week, I'm joined by Paul Wilson. So same time, 7:30. He's a mindset coach. He's on Mastermind I'm involved in. So I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to be a good one, Matt, for the guys watching for there. So mindset is everything, and it's all about our obviously the mental health and what we're telling ourselves, what's going on here, and it's okay to talk about what's it's not always roses, and that's okay as well, right? But we're moving forward. All right, cheers, Matt. I'll speak to you in just a bit.
Thanks again.
See you later. Peace, love, and happiness.